What if everything you've been told about aging was only half the story? What if wrinkles, fatigue, and the slow loss of vitality were not simply written into your DNA, but were instead the result of something far deeper, something spiritual that modern science has largely ignored? Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, left behind a legacy of readings that challenge the very foundation of what we believe about time, health, and the human body. He revealed that aging is not merely a biological process, but a spiritual imbalance, a disconnection from divine principles that slowly manifests in the physical form. And in those revelations lies a forgotten practice, one that could change the way you think about your own body and its capacity to renew. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Each voice, each place, is part of this larger journey of rediscovering truths that many have overlooked. Cayce explained that the body was designed with a miraculous power to regenerate. Every cell, every organ, every system is capable of renewal, but the key lies in the alignment of mind, spirit, and daily habits. Has this ever happened to you? You feel more tired than your years should allow, as though life itself weighs heavier than it once did. According to Cayce, that heaviness doesn't come from time alone. It comes from disconnection. Fear, resentment, anger. These emotions are like blockages in the natural current of life, draining energy and speeding up the signs of aging. On the other hand, emotions such as joy, hope, and love strengthen the body's natural rhythm, feeding vitality in ways we can actually see and feel. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because Cayce believed that every thought, every belief, every state of emotion directly influences how the body wears the passage of time. In other words, aging is not inevitable decline, but a mirror of our spiritual state. Think about it. How often do we chase youth in external ways? Creams, surgeries, supplements, all promising renewal but rarely delivering more than temporary results. Cayce's wisdom pointed inward, insisting that the real fountain of youth flows through connection to God, the clearing of toxic emotions, and the cultivation of higher principles in daily living. Stay with me until the end, because these insights may invite you to reimagine your own relationship with time, energy, and the possibility of renewal. Imagine waking up each day not already defeated by stress, but carrying within you a sense of lightness, a vitality that makes age feel less like a burden and more like a rhythm of cycles. Cayce described aging as imbalance, not destiny. When the mind is clouded with negativity, the body reflects it in weakness and fatigue. But when the spirit is aligned with the divine, when gratitude, faith, and love shape our daily experience, something remarkable happens. Our cells follow that pattern. Renewal begins. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. Cayce's guidance was practical, direct, and rooted in countless readings where people came to him desperate for answers. And his message was consistent. The body is a sacred instrument, and when we neglect the spiritual tune it requires, the music of our life falls out of harmony. Aging, in his view, was nothing more than the sound of that disharmony. Rejuvenation, on the other hand, was simply the return to balance. So ask yourself, is it possible that the true solution to aging has been within you all along, hidden not in treatments or external cures, but in the quiet practices of the soul? Could it be that renewal begins not with what we buy, but with how we think, believe, and connect with the divine? The forgotten practice that Cayce spoke of is not locked away in history. It is here, available to anyone willing to see aging through new eyes. And this is just the beginning. Because once we understand that aging is not merely biological, but spiritual, we open the door to practices that may reshape not only how we look, but how we live. In the next part, we'll explore exactly how these teachings translate into daily habits, small, powerful choices that may hold the key to unlocking a more youthful, vibrant life. If you find meaning in these messages and want to keep exploring more insights that bring depth, clarity, and transformation to your journey, make sure to subscribe. That way, every time new content is shared, you'll have it right here waiting for you. like a guidebook you can return to whenever you need inspiration. Modern beliefs tell us aging is a one-way street, a slow surrender to biology, yet the hidden truth, the one Cayce kept pointing to, lives behind the scenes of our daily mindset. Think of your body less as a machine wearing out, and more as a living score that responds to the conductor of thought and spirit. When the music is fear, tension, or resentment, the tempo tightens, circulation stiffens, and the face records every discordant note. But when the score is faith, gratitude, and compassion, something remarkable happens. The rhythm smooths, cells find coherence, and the whole system remembers how to repair. This is not a denial of time. It's an invitation to transformation, an inner decision to treat your biology as a partner rather than a prison. Cayce's challenge is radical, precisely because it's practical. He insists every cell listens. Your inner conversations, those quiet, repetitive phrases you claim no one hears, become instructions. Tell your body, I'm exhausted, I'm old, I'm done, and chemistry obliges. Tell it, I am renewing, I am guided, I am grounded in love, and messenger molecules begin a different journey. If you felt the impact of a stressful week on your skin, your sleep, your patience, you've already witnessed the mind-body broadcast. The question is whether you'll curate the signal. That's where decisions matter. What you notice, what you repeat, and what you hold sacred becomes the architectural plan your tissues follow. This is where a new mindset replaces the old script. Aging as imbalance, not fate. Renewal as alignment, not fantasy. You can feel the difference in small moments. How a sincere breath softens the jaw. How a forgiving thought loosens the chest. How a quiet prayer changes the quality of attention. These are not abstract revelations. They are physiological shifts with spiritual roots. The body is exquisitely social. It mirrors the emotional climate you host. Change the climate, and you change the forecast. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic, not by stacking theories, but by stepping into the living room of your daily life, where micro-choices shape macro outcomes. Consider the instant you catch yourself rehearsing a grievance. You can let it calcify, or you can choose a different rehearsal. Blessing the person, blessing yourself, blessing the lesson. That pivot is more than moral. It's metabolic. It redirects energy from defense to repair, from cortisol to balance. Or take the moment you stand before a mirror. Do you scan for proof of decline, or do you greet the face as an ally on a long journey? The first approach hardens. The second softens and invites. One ages you by tightening what's already tight. The other invites circulation to return where it has been missing. Purpose amplifies this effect. When your days carry meaning, a project that serves, a family moment fully received, a craft honed with integrity, cells seem to take the hint. Direction steadies the nervous system. The body is less threatened when the soul is engaged. Love does this too, not sentimentality, but a practiced openness, the willingness to extend goodwill when it'd be easier to withdraw. Love thaws the frozen places where energy gets trapped. Over time, those thawed places become pathways of renewal. None of this requires perfection. It asks for sincerity, the kind that turns small rituals into living medicine. A walk that becomes a clearing, a breath that becomes a prayer, a meal that becomes gratitude in motion. If you've ever felt younger after laughing with a friend or lighter after releasing a judgment, you've touched the same current Cayce described. The practice is remembering to return to it, again and again, until the return itself becomes your default. If this perspective resonates and you want to anchor it, write in the comments, I choose renewal. Put it there to mark your decision, to remind your future self what you're practicing, and to encourage someone who needs proof that a single, honest sentence can begin a new chapter. It's fascinating to realize how the weight of life doesn't always come from the years that pass, but from the way we carry them. Edgar Cayce described this with remarkable clarity. When the spirit is disconnected, the body feels heavy, as though each step demands more energy than it should. It's not just exhaustion after a long day. It's the silent erosion of vitality that happens when we drift too far from higher principles. In that disconnection, time appears ruthless, but when we reconnect, When faith, gratitude, and divine awareness return, the body responds with a lightness that science still struggles to fully explain. It's almost as if time loses its power, because we are no longer measuring life by decay, but by flow. This hidden truth invites us to look behind the scenes of our own habits and ask, what am I feeding my body on a spiritual level? Cayce taught that every 7 years, every cell in the body renews itself. Think about that for a moment. Your body is constantly rewriting itself. But here's the twist. It doesn't write from scratch. It writes from the emotional and spiritual scripts we hand it. If resentment, fear, and anxiety remain unresolved, those patterns get copied into each new cycle. Instead of renewal, we carry the same heaviness forward. That's why so many people feel older than their age, trapped in the echo of old wounds. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this is where transformation begins. Imagine your life as a manuscript. Every 7 years, the body gives you blank pages, but instead of creating something new, most people keep photocopying the same mistakes, the same stress, the same stories. Cayce's revelation was simple, yet profound. Rejuvenation requires editing the script, changing what you believe, what you repeat to yourself, and most of all, how you relate to the divine source that animates everything. Without that shift, the body continues to mirror imbalance. With it, each cycle becomes a chance for authentic renewal. This is not about denying biology, but about shaping it with awareness. The impact of mindset on physical health is one of the most overlooked truths of our time. Behind the scenes of aging lies an intimate dialogue between thought and tissue. Say to yourself, I am worn out, I am finished, and the body organizes itself to match those words. But shift the language to, I am guided, I am restored, I am aligned, and suddenly the cells receive different instructions. It's not magic, it's alignment. It's the same principle that explains why a life filled with purpose often outlasts one lived in monotony, because the spirit fuels the body. Consider how often decisions rooted in fear end up shaping the very lines on our faces. Worry etches itself into the brow, bitterness hardens the jaw, and unspoken anger tightens the chest. But hope relaxes those features, faith opens the posture, and joy softens the gaze. These changes may seem small, but they accumulate, carving either renewal or decay into the body over time. This is the hidden truth behind Cayce's teaching. Aging is not a fixed law, but a reflection of what we allow to flow, or remain blocked, within us. Rejuvenation is therefore less about chasing external fixes and more about aligning with principles that allow energy to circulate freely. It means stepping into a new relationship with yourself, with others, and with God. This alignment is not theoretical. It can be felt in the body as vitality, resilience, and lightness. And once you begin to experience it, you recognize that time itself bends differently when the soul is in harmony. If these ideas resonate, write in the comments, I'm ready for renewal. Put it there as a reminder of your own decision, and as a way to show others that transformation begins not with the years ahead, but with the choice you make right now. When Edgar Cayce spoke of circulation, he wasn't only referring to blood pumping through veins or oxygen filling the lungs. He was pointing to the flow of life itself. Stress, tension, and even the way we hold our shoulders throughout the day can quietly restrict that current. Behind the scenes, every blocked pathway becomes a message to the body. Slow down, decay. Lose vitality. But when circulation is encouraged, through stretching, walking in fresh air, or even the ancient practice of alternating hot and cold baths, the message shifts entirely. The body feels alive again, reminded of its natural rhythm, and renewal begins to surface in ways you can actually feel. It is as though vitality doesn't just return, it reintroduces you to a lighter version of yourself. Cayce often compared the body to an instrument, and the metaphor is striking. An untuned violin may still produce sound, but it lacks harmony. It grates against the ear. In the same way, an untuned body can function, but each note of life feels strained. Aging, he said, is nothing more than the sound of an instrument left unattended, strings loose or too tight, chords dissonant, To restore youthfulness, one must tune this instrument regularly, balancing movement with stillness, strength with rest, and spirit with daily intention. It's not about perfection, but about rhythm. Harmony is what brings back the brightness to the skin, the clarity to the mind, and the energy to the steps we take. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because diet was another of Cayce's powerful revelations. He warned long before modern nutritionists confirmed it. What we eat builds or breaks us, not just physically but spiritually. Heavy meats, refined sugar, and processed foods weigh down the system, clogging not only arteries but also the invisible flow of life energy. These choices drain vitality quietly, day after day, until the body feels older than it should. In contrast, fresh fruits, vibrant vegetables, whole grains, and pure water cooperate with the natural design of the body. They act like sunlight for the cells, fueling renewal rather than resistance. But Cayce took it even further. He described food not only as nourishment, but as a kind of spiritual material, raw energy that becomes part of the body's temple. In other words, every bite is a decision. Do we choose foods that give life, or foods that steal it? Beyond nutrients, Cayce emphasized the state of mind during meals. Eating with gratitude, in peace, and with awareness of the divine source transforms digestion into a sacred act. The hidden truth here is that nourishment is not just about calories or vitamins. It is about vibration, about the way energy moves from creation into us and through us. Imagine two identical plates of food, one eaten in haste, distracted, resentful, and another received with appreciation, shared with love, blessed in silence. The difference in the body's response is not merely symbolic. Behind the scenes, hormones, enzymes, and circulation align differently. Gratitude softens the nervous system, improving absorption, while tension disrupts the process and leaves the body unsatisfied. Cayce knew this long before research began showing how stress alters digestion. For him, the meal was a moment of alignment, a practice as essential to youthfulness as movement or prayer. This perspective changes the way we see health altogether. It's not about rigid rules or obsessing over numbers, but about relationship, our relationship with food, with our own body, and with the higher source that provides both. Every sip of clean water, every simple fruit, every mindful breath while eating is part of the hidden architecture of renewal. When the body is tuned, when circulation is flowing, and when diet supports rather than hinders, the instrument of life begins to play its melody clearly again. And the beauty of this journey is that it belongs to anyone willing to listen differently, to see beyond appearances, and notice the subtle impact of choices that accumulate each day. What may look ordinary on the surface, stretching, eating simply, walking outdoors, are in fact revelations, carrying the potential to reshape the way we age and the way we live. If these words strike something within you, write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." Place it there not only to affirm your own understanding, but to inspire others who might be searching for the hidden keys to renewal. When Cayce described food as energy, he was lifting the veil on a hidden truth we often overlook in modern life. We've been taught to count calories, track nutrients, and obsess over diets. Yet he reminded us that every bite carries not only physical matter, but also a kind of vibration. Eating in a state of rush, frustration, or distraction lowers that vibration, leaving the body unsettled no matter how healthy the plate may look. But when meals are approached with peace, gratitude, and awareness of their origin, something shifts. Digestion is no longer a mechanical process. It becomes an act of harmony. Behind the scenes, the nervous system calms, hormones regulate, and cells open to receive nourishment more fully. Food, in this sense, becomes less about fuel and more about communion with creation itself. This connection between attitude and nourishment points us to an even deeper layer, the mind as the architect of the body. Cayce's words, "The mind is the builder," carry a force that is both simple and transformative. Every thought is like a set of blueprints, and the body follows them faithfully. Think of the times you've told yourself, "I'm so tired, I feel old, I can't go on." Those phrases may seem harmless, but the body listens. Cells respond as if they've been given orders to decline. On the other hand, affirmations of strength, hope, and renewal don't just lift mood, they instruct the body to organize toward healing. This is why some people, even in the midst of challenges, radiate vitality. They've chosen a mindset that keeps their inner blueprint open to youth. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because here lies the true revelation. Thought alone is powerful, but thought aligned with spirit creates transformation beyond measure. Cayce pointed to prayer and meditation as the bridges between conscious intention and divine order. When the mind is tuned only to daily worries, it scatters energy, but when it turns inward in stillness, when it aligns with higher principles, the entire body receives strength that science has only begun to study. Prayer, in his vision, was not empty repetition but vibration, a resonance that synchronizes human life with the rhythm of creation. Meditation, likewise, was a discipline that clears the noise, allowing light to flow into places that stress and fear had darkened. Behind the scenes of this practice lies a journey many overlook, the subtle shift from being ruled by circumstances to directing energy consciously. Imagine the difference between a person who wakes up consumed by news, deadlines, and old frustrations, and one who begins the day in quiet prayer, affirming connection to something larger. The first body contracts, the second body expands. Circulation, immunity, even posture respond differently. It's not superstition, it's the biology of belief shaped by alignment with the divine. The impact of these choices cannot be overstated. A body that receives food in gratitude, guided by a mind-building renewal, strengthened by prayerful alignment, becomes more than a vessel surviving time. It becomes a temple of resilience, radiating health in a way that transcends age. This is the hidden truth that Cayce urged people to rediscover, that aging is not a sentence, but a reflection of inner order or inner chaos. Renewal comes, not from force, but from harmony, between thought, spirit, and the daily rituals that either build or dismantle vitality. If these insights connect with your own experience, write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." Let it serve as both a personal affirmation and a reminder to others that the way we think, feel, and align ourselves each day is far more powerful than we've been taught to believe. Cayce often reminded us that the body cannot be separated from the mind or the spirit. They are like three musicians playing the same song, and if even one is out of tune, the harmony collapses. A person may nourish the body with the best foods but still carry bitterness in the heart, and the result will be imbalance. Another may cultivate prayer, but neglect rest or movement, and vitality weakens just the same. Renewal is only possible when the three are united: mind, body, and spirit weaving together in balance. This unity is what turns ordinary days into a journey of transformation, because every choice we make is either strengthening that harmony or pulling it apart. That is why the details of daily life matter so much. Cayce emphasized that mornings, especially, hold extraordinary power. The first thoughts we allow, the first emotions we feed, set the tone for everything that follows. Beginning the day with prayer or meditation is not only a spiritual gesture, it is a decision that calibrates the entire system. Instead of being thrown into the chaos of obligations, the body and mind align with peace before stepping into the noise of the world. It's as if we build an invisible shield that influences how we react, how we breathe, how we absorb the pressures of the day. Behind the scenes, blood pressure steadies, stress hormones reduce, and even the nervous system moves into a state of balance. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic because stillness itself is often misunderstood. In modern culture, stillness is confused with doing nothing, but for Cayce, it was a hidden practice that nourishes renewal at the deepest level. Just a few minutes of conscious breathing, where the lungs fill fully and the body releases tension, has the power to change internal chemistry. Picture yourself pausing, closing your eyes, inhaling with awareness, and letting the breath circulate through every cell. In that simple act, the heart rate shifts, the nervous system calms, and the body remembers its natural state of harmony. What looks like silence from the outside is actually an extraordinary behind-the-scenes reset that touches every system. Think of how often stress creeps into the body unnoticed: tight shoulders, shallow breaths, clenched jaws. These are small signs that energy is being blocked, that harmony is slipping away. Stillness interrupts that cycle. It is not escape, but recalibration. It allows the body to stop rehearsing the story of tension and begin rehearsing the story of renewal. Over time, these pauses become as essential as food and water, because they feed something that ordinary routines cannot: the restoration of balance between the seen and the unseen. The impact of these choices is profound. People often believe transformation requires grand gestures or dramatic changes, but Cayce showed that it is the simple, consistent practices that carry the most weight. A morning prayer, a moment of breathing, a small act of gratitude. These decisions accumulate into resilience. They reshape the nervous system, redirect energy, and awaken the cells to their natural rhythm of renewal. When body, mind, and spirit move together, the journey through life no longer feels like a fight against time, but like a dance with it. If this perspective resonates with you, write in the comments, "I'm also on this path." By doing so, you affirm your own decision to seek harmony and inspire others to recognize the hidden power in the simplest practices of daily life. Cayce's perspective on forgiveness is one of those revelations that feels almost too simple to hold such depth, yet it touches the very core of human renewal. He described grudges and resentments not as fleeting emotions, but as toxins that linger in the body. Think of it like a river clogged with debris. The water still moves, but it struggles, losing clarity and flow. In the same way, unhealed anger, jealousy, or bitterness sits quietly in the background, stealing energy that could be fueling vitality. Forgiveness, then, becomes less about excusing the actions of others and more about cleansing our own inner channels. It is a health practice as real as any physical treatment, one that allows life energy to circulate freely once again. The hidden truth is that letting go is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful decisions for transformation, a way to reclaim strength rather than surrender it. This cleansing directly connects to another crucial element of Cayce's vision: sleep. He believed that rest is not only physical repair, but also spiritual realignment. Each night, the body enters a laboratory of restoration, and the state we carry into that laboratory determines the results. Going to bed with anger or fear invites the subconscious to keep rehearsing that negativity, disrupting the renewal process. But entering rest with gratitude, prayer, or a quiet affirmation shifts the entire journey. Behind the scenes, the nervous system relaxes, hormones balance, and the spirit reconnects to its divine source. Sleep becomes more than hours counted. It becomes a sacred practice that resets both body and soul. It is no wonder so many wake up either drained or renewed. The difference lies in how the day is closed. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because Cayce also revealed something extraordinary about service and its impact on youthfulness. In modern culture, service is often seen as sacrifice, as giving up energy for someone else's benefit. Yet Cayce flipped this idea entirely. He said that when we serve, when we extend compassion, kindness, or love, we don't lose energy, we multiply it. Service opens channels of divine flow, allowing energy to circulate back into us even stronger. Think of it as a law of return. The more we give sincerely, the more life force replenishes us. Those who hoard, who live solely for self-interest, may appear to conserve, but in reality, they stagnate. True vitality belongs to those who allow love to move through them, because energy that circulates always grows. The impact of this principle is easy to see if we look closely at the people around us. Have you noticed how those who live with generosity often carry a certain lightness, a kind of joy that keeps them looking younger than their years? Meanwhile, those consumed by selfish pursuits or constant comparison seem to wear time more heavily, even if their lives appear successful on the surface. Cayce saw this not as coincidence, but as spiritual law in action. The soul thrives in connection, and the body reflects it. Service is not a burden. It is one of the hidden keys to renewal. one of the behind-the-scenes forces that science is only now beginning to recognize in studies linking altruism to longer, healthier lives. When we weave forgiveness, rest, and service into our daily journey, we create a pattern of renewal that no external product can match. Forgiveness clears the past, sleep resets the present, and service fuels the future. Together, they form a cycle that continuously refreshes the mind, body, and spirit. This is not an abstract idea. It is a living practice, a choice that shapes how we experience time itself. And the beauty of it is that anyone at any stage of life can step into this rhythm. If this reflection resonates with you, write in the comments, "I choose harmony." By doing so, you affirm the decision to release what no longer serves you, to honor the sacredness of rest, and to embrace service as a path to youth and vitality. Cayce's words about purpose cut directly to the heart of human experience. He saw clearly that when a person drifts through life without meaning, their vitality diminishes. The body reflects the emptiness of the spirit, and the weight of routine becomes heavier than time itself. But when someone discovers purpose, whether in nurturing a family, creating something meaningful, or living each day with integrity, the effect is profound. The body seems to take instructions from the soul, drawing energy from that deeper current. Behind the scenes, hormones balance differently. The nervous system steadies, and even the immune system strengthens, as though the body understands it has a reason to remain vibrant. Purpose is not just an idea, it is fuel, an invisible power source that sustains life far beyond what is physically measurable. This brings us to one of Cayce's most powerful revelations, the Christ Spirit within as the eternal source of youth. He wasn't speaking of doctrine, nor limiting the idea to religious ritual. For him, the Christ Spirit was the living awareness of God within each person, the eternal flame that never ages. When this truth is awakened, renewal is no longer something we chase. It flows naturally. Think of it as a fountain hidden at the center of being. When we connect to it, every part of life feels fresher, lighter, more resilient. Time continues, of course, but its destructive grip weakens. The body reflects the soul's ageless nature, showing vitality not because of resistance, but because of surrender to something eternal. This is the hidden truth that so many overlook. Youth is not found in resisting age, but in remembering the timeless essence already alive inside us. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because Cayce also spoke of balance as a sacred law. He observed how extremes, too much work, too much food, too much worry, disrupt the harmony the body was designed to follow. Balance, he said, is not limitation, but alignment. It means moving with the rhythms of creation rather than fighting against them. When we eat in moderation, the organs thrive. When we allow proper rest, the nervous system recovers. When thought is tempered with faith instead of consumed by fear, clarity replaces confusion. The hidden truth here is that the universe itself operates in balance. Seasons turning, tides rising and falling, day and night alternating, and our bodies are microcosms of this greater rhythm. To live out of balance is to step out of harmony with life itself. This journey toward balance is not about perfection, but about awareness. Each decision becomes part of a greater composition. A meal taken in excess or eaten with gratitude, a night spent in restless worry or surrendered to peace, a day filled with frantic busyness or guided by purposeful focus. These choices accumulate, writing themselves into the body as health or as imbalance. Cayce believed that when we return to balance, we naturally align with the same creative forces that keep the stars in motion and the oceans in rhythm. It is this alignment that makes renewal possible, not as a miracle outside of us, but as a law already embedded within us. Living with purpose, awakening the Christ Spirit within, and walking the path of balance are not separate practices but parts of the same hidden architecture of transformation. Together, they form a foundation on which body, mind, and spirit can thrive. And perhaps the most persuasive truth is that this architecture is not reserved for the few. It is accessible to anyone willing to look beyond appearances and trust the deeper rhythm of life. If this reflection resonates with you, Write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." By doing so, you affirm that purpose, spirit, and balance are not distant ideals, but living forces already shaping your own journey. Cayce often emphasized something that modern science is only now beginning to uncover. The spine is far more than a column of bones. It is a living channel, carrying currents of energy that influence every organ, every muscle, every subtle function of the body. When the spine is flexible, aligned, and free from chronic tension, the life force circulates without obstruction, nourishing every part of us. But when stress, poor posture, or years of neglect compress that channel, the flow weakens, and the body begins to age prematurely. Behind the scenes of daily discomfort, stiffness in the back, tension in the neck, lies a deeper story. Energy unable to move as it was designed. Cayce compared this to a river with rocks blocking its path. Water still flows, but it struggles, and the ecosystem around it suffers. In the same way, our own ecosystem, the body, suffers when the spine is ignored. It is in this hidden truth that renewal begins to take shape. Practices that release tension from the spine, stretching, mindful movement, gentle adjustments, do more than relieve aches. They restore circulation, allowing the creative energy of life to reach places that had been starving. Transformation begins when the spine is treated not as a burden to carry, but as a sacred highway connecting the physical to the spiritual. This perspective shifts our entire mindset about health. It's not just about managing pain, but about keeping the channels of vitality open so that the body can express the youthfulness it is inherently capable of. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because Cayce also spoke about the power of breath as a direct connection to the divine. Breathing, something so simple and constant, becomes an extraordinary practice when done consciously. A shallow breath keeps us in survival mode, tense and restless, while deep, deliberate breathing infuses every cell with not only oxygen, but also spiritual vitality. In his readings, Cayce often described breath as the carrier of life energy, the very spirit of God moving through the body. When we pause and breathe deeply, especially in nature, it's not just relaxation, it's alignment. The nervous system calms, the heart steadies, and the mind clears, creating a state where renewal becomes possible. Behind the scenes of each breath lies a choice. Will we inhale mechanically, unaware, or will we use this act as a reminder of our constant connection to the source of life? Breath becomes a teacher, showing us how to release what no longer serves us on the exhale and receive fresh vitality with the inhale. It is a quiet but profound revelation, one that reminds us that renewal is always just one breath away. In moments of stress, when the mind races and the body feels heavy, this simple return to conscious breathing can change everything. It is a practice that costs nothing yet holds immeasurable impact on how we age, how we think, and how we feel. And then there is the presence of nature, another of Cayce's timeless keys to rejuvenation. He insisted that we are not separate from the natural world, but woven into its rhythms, walking barefoot on the grass, letting the sun touch the skin, listening to the sound of water or wind. These are not luxuries, but necessities for balance and vitality. The body, like the earth, thrives on cycles, light, and elemental connection. When we distance ourselves from nature, spending entire days indoors surrounded by artificial light and noise, we lose touch with those rhythms, and the body begins to show signs of imbalance. But when we return to nature, even in small ways, the body remembers. Energy flows differently, tension softens, and vitality rises. The ground itself provides a subtle current when we walk barefoot, a gentle exchange of energy that recalibrates the nervous system. The sun, when received with moderation, stimulates hormones and infuses us with warmth that touches both body and spirit. Nature doesn't just heal, it reminds us of who we are, a microcosm of creation itself. These practices, caring for the spine, breathing deeply, immersing in nature, are not disconnected rituals. They are parts of a greater journey, each one aligning us with the hidden architecture of renewal. When experienced together, they create a rhythm that turns ordinary moments into living medicine. Renewal stops being a mystery and becomes a daily practice woven into how we move, how we breathe, and how we live in harmony with the world around us. If these ideas resonate with you, write in the comments, "I choose balance." Use it as a declaration of your own journey and as an encouragement to others who may be searching for the same hidden truth that Cayce revealed, that youth is not only a matter of years, but of alignment with life's natural flow. Fear is one of those silent forces that shapes the body more deeply than most people realize. Cayce described it as a contraction, a tightening not only of the mind but of the very organs themselves. Fear restricts circulation, stiffens muscles, and weakens the immune system, leaving the body vulnerable to decline. It's as if every time we give in to fear, the body receives the command to shrink rather than expand. Yet faith, he explained, has the opposite impact. Faith revives. It relaxes the body, opens channels of energy, and restores vitality where fear had stolen it. Behind the scenes of this transformation lies a simple but powerful truth. What we choose to affirm daily becomes the tone of our existence. Affirmations such as, "God is my life," or "The Spirit within me renews me each day," are not just words. They are instructions that the subconscious translates into energy, resilience, and health. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because gratitude takes this transformation to an even higher level. Cayce revealed that a thankful heart is one of the most potent medicines available. Gratitude shifts chemistry in the body, lowering stress hormones, improving immunity, and creating a harmony that touches every cell. Think about the impact of complaint, how it tightens the chest, clouds the mind, and makes even small problems feel unbearable. Gratitude does the opposite. It opens the heart, softens the nervous system, and invites lightness into the body. It is not just an emotional state, it is a physiological change, a vibration that reorganizes how the body functions. Behind the scenes, gratitude communicates to the body that it is safe, supported, and capable of thriving. It becomes a hidden truth that reshapes health at the deepest levels. The impact of gratitude is magnified when it becomes a daily rhythm, starting and ending the day with even the smallest acknowledgments. "I'm thankful for this breath, this moment, this chance," creates a field of renewal that nothing external can replace. Cayce insisted that gratitude isn't empty words, it's conscious alignment with the source of life. And when that alignment happens, the body mirrors it. Cells behave differently, stress loses its grip, and a sense of calm vitality takes root. Gratitude, in this way, becomes not only a mindset, but also a regenerative practice, one that keeps the body younger because it keeps the spirit awake. Joy, too, is a force that Cayce elevated to the level of medicine. He described it not as the absence of problems, but as the deliberate choice to meet life with trust and openness. Joy relaxes the heart, rejuvenates the nervous system, and strengthens immunity, creating an inner environment where vitality thrives. If fear contracts and gratitude expands, then joy elevates. It lifts us beyond the weight of circumstances and infuses the body with a vitality that cannot be faked. Think of laughter, playfulness, or even small moments of delight. They release tension instantly, dissolving layers of heaviness that years of stress have built. The body doesn't just enjoy joy, it depends on it. Without joy, life becomes mechanical, and the body reflects that dullness. With joy, even in the face of challenges, the body carries a brightness that is unmistakable. This is the hidden truth that so often gets lost behind the scenes of modern life. People chase energy through stimulants, treatments, or endless productivity, forgetting that the real medicine lies in the state of the heart. Fear ages us. Gratitude and joy renew us. They are not luxuries to practice when life is easy, but essential disciplines that shape how we age, how we heal, and how we live each day. If this resonates with you, write in the comments, "I choose joy." Let it stand as both a personal declaration and a gentle reminder to others that renewal is not only possible but accessible when we decide to anchor our lives in gratitude and faith rather than fear. Cayce often spoke about ideals not as abstract dreams, but as living forces that shape both the spirit and the body. When a person holds a clear and elevated ideal, Whether rooted in love, service, or truth, the entire being organizes itself around that vision. Emotions stabilize, decisions gain clarity, and the nervous system finds balance. Behind the scenes, the body interprets this alignment as safety, reducing the chaos that constant doubt or confusion creates. Without an ideal, life drifts, and that drifting shows itself physically as fatigue, tension, and even illness. But when the heart is anchored in something higher, vitality flows naturally because every action, every thought, moves in the same direction. This is why Cayce insisted that one of the most powerful choices we can make for health is not only what we eat or how we move, but what we live for. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because the idea of simplicity ties directly into the vitality that so many seek. Modern life tempts us with complexity, more possessions, more obligations, more distractions, and yet Cayce revealed that this overload drains energy quietly, leaving us fragmented. Simplicity, on the other hand, is not deprivation, but liberation. By focusing on what truly matters, we preserve energy that would otherwise be wasted on constant noise and endless pursuits. Simplicity creates clarity, and clarity becomes a hidden key to youthfulness. It allows the body to rest, the mind to breathe, and the spirit to shine without being buried under the unnecessary. Imagine a room free of clutter. Suddenly light moves differently, space feels more expansive, and peace becomes possible. The same is true within us. When we simplify, energy circulates more freely, and we rediscover the vitality that complexity had stolen. This journey toward simplicity naturally connects to cooperation, another principle Cayce highlighted as essential for renewal. In a culture that glorifies competition, rivalry often leaves behind stress, bitterness, and exhaustion. The constant comparison to others creates a weight the body carries as if it were physical. But cooperation changes everything. It opens channels of unity, reminding us that we were not designed to fight against each other, but to work together. This unity doesn't just heal relationships, it heals the body. When we live in harmony with others, the nervous system softens, the immune system strengthens, and the heart experiences peace. Cooperation becomes a hidden medicine, one that modern science is only beginning to confirm in studies linking social bonds to longer, healthier lives. Behind the scenes of these principles, ideals, simplicity, and cooperation, lies a profound revelation about energy itself. Energy is not only what we consume in food or spend in work, it is also how we orient our lives. A life anchored in ideals channels energy forward with purpose. A life lived in simplicity conserves energy for what truly matters. And a life rooted in cooperation multiplies energy by aligning with the greater flow of creation. These are not lofty concepts but practical choices that directly influence how we feel, how we age, and how we carry ourselves through the journey of time. If this reflection resonates with you, write in the comments, "I choose alignment." Let it be both a reminder for yourself and an encouragement to others that health and renewal are not found in excess or rivalry, but in the clarity of ideals, the beauty of simplicity, and the strength of unity. Cayce often reminded us that the soul is untouched by time. The body may change, faces may carry lines of experience, but the essence within us, the eternal spark, remains ageless. When we forget this, we become enslaved to the calendar, measuring life by decline rather than by depth. But when we truly embrace that the soul cannot decay, something shifts. Fear of time loosens its grip. The body, instead of bracing itself against every passing year, begins to flow more freely, carrying an energy that feels younger, because it draws from eternity rather than from fleeting moments. This hidden truth changes the way we perceive aging. It is not the soul that weakens, only the garment it wears. And when the soul shines through, that light often radiates into the body itself, softening the signs of time with vitality that defies explanation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because Cayce also revealed that love is one of the most powerful forces of rejuvenation. Love here is not just romance or fleeting emotion, but the choice to live with compassion, kindness, and openness. Acts of love open the channels of energy in the body. They release tension, improve circulation, and allow divine life force to move freely. The absence of love, on the other hand, dries the spirit, leaving heaviness that reflects in fatigue, illness, and premature aging. You can see this in people whose lives are filled with bitterness. They often appear older than their years, and you can see the opposite in those who live with kindness, whose faces glow with warmth even in later years. Behind the scenes, love is more than a feeling. It is a medicine that renews. It clears what is blocked, heals what is wounded, and infuses vitality into every part of the being. The same is true for hope. Cayce described hopelessness as one of the most destructive states a person can endure. When hope is lost, the body reacts instantly. Posture weakens, energy drains, and even the smallest tasks feel impossible. Cells themselves seem to surrender, no longer receiving the message to repair and renew. But hope reverses this process. It is not naive optimism, but a force that sustains life at its very core. Hope whispers that something more is possible, and the body responds with strength to match that belief. Think of the hidden truth behind those who overcome great illness. Often, it is not just medicine, but hope that carries them through. Hope energizes, lifts the spirit, and gives the body reason to fight, repair, and continue. Behind the scenes of love and hope lies a shared revelation. Both are bridges between the eternal soul and the temporary body. They allow what is timeless within us to influence what is fragile. They are forces that resist decay, not through denial but through alignment with something greater. When love and hope move through us, the body is no longer left alone to face time. Instead, it becomes supported by currents that draw from eternity itself. If these reflections connect with your own experience, write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." Place it there as both a reminder for yourself and as encouragement for others, showing that when we choose love and hope, we choose renewal over decay, vitality over fear, and life over resignation. Cayce often described imagination not as fantasy, but as one of the most practical tools of renewal we possess. The mind, he said, writes directly onto the body, and imagination is the pen. When we visualize light moving through us, strength filling our steps, or divine energy washing over every cell, the subconscious interprets those images as instructions. The body, in turn, begins to act accordingly. Behind the scenes, hormones shift, tension releases, and healing processes are activated, all because the subconscious believes the picture it is given. This is the hidden truth of imagination. It is not a child's game, but a creative force that shapes reality, a bridge between what we believe and what we experience. And just as imagination can build, it can also destroy when used unconsciously through constant worry, fear, or self-criticism. Transformation begins when we choose to use this inner vision for renewal rather than decline. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because Cayce also taught that the body is designed to thrive in rhythm, much like nature itself. He pointed out that every season has its purpose: times of growth, times of harvest, times of rest. The human body follows the same law. When we respect cycles of activity and recovery, we allow the body to regenerate naturally. But when we push without pause, ignoring fatigue and overriding the signals of rest, we age faster. The nervous system becomes strained, energy reserves deplete, and the body begins to rebel. The hidden truth here is that renewal is not achieved through constant force, but through balance. Work has its place, rest has its place, and both are essential parts of the same journey. This principle extends beyond the physical into the mental and spiritual. Moments of silence, pauses from noise and stimulation, are as important as sleep. They give the mind a chance to reset, to let go of clutter, to regain clarity. Without these rhythms, life becomes a blur of constant doing, and the body pays the price. But when we honor these natural cycles, vitality doesn't just return, it expands, flowing in harmony with the same creative order that sustains the universe. Respecting these rhythms is not laziness, but wisdom, a hidden key to longevity that we often overlook in our pursuit of productivity. Prayer, according to Cayce, was another way of entering into that rhythm, an act that aligns human vibration with divine energy. He explained that sincere prayer is not about words alone but about resonance, a tuning of the self to the frequency of God. In prayer, we shift from the noise of fear and doubt to the current of strength and renewal. The impact is both subtle and profound. The soul feels lighter, the mind becomes clearer, and the body receives currents of healing that no medicine can fully explain. Behind the scenes, prayer quiets the nervous system, improves heart function, and creates a sense of wholeness that extends far beyond the moment itself. What makes prayer even more powerful is when it includes not just personal petitions, but also intercession for others. Cayce observed that when we send love, healing, and blessings outward, that energy also flows back into us. It is the spiritual law of circulation. What we give sincerely, we also receive. Prayer, then, is not only a lifeline to God, but also a force that strengthens community, creates unity, and generates renewal across every level of life. The hidden truth within imagination, rhythm, and prayer is that they are not separate practices, but interconnected streams leading back to the same source. Imagination shapes what the subconscious believes, rhythms preserve the body's balance, and prayer opens the channel to divine energy. Together they create a foundation for living not in resistance to time, but in harmony with it, transforming aging into a different kind of journey, one guided by alignment rather than fear. If this perspective resonates with you, write in the comments, "I choose renewal." Use it as a reminder to yourself and as encouragement to others, showing that imagination, balance, and prayer are not abstract ideas, but living forces shaping health and vitality each day. Cayce often pointed to something far beyond habits or routines when he spoke of renewal. He reminded us that the deepest transformation begins with consciousness itself, and that the awareness of Christ within is the ultimate key to youth. Not youth as the world defines it, chasing appearance or resisting age at any cost, but a vitality born from alignment with eternity. When we awaken to this truth, we no longer carry the same weight of time. Each year may pass, but its burden lessens, because the spirit within us is ageless. Christ consciousness, as Cayce described it, is not simply belief but a living state of awareness, a mindset that recognizes the divine at work in every thought, every interaction, every breath. Behind the scenes, this shift in awareness has a profound impact. The nervous system calms, stress loses its grip, and the body reflects the serenity of the soul. This awareness naturally flows into the forgotten practice he emphasized, living each day in harmony with spirit. It is not a single ritual, nor a secret technique, but the integration of gratitude, faith, and service into the rhythm of ordinary life. Youth, then, is not measured by the absence of wrinkles or the speed of movement, but by the quality of connection to the divine. A person who lives with gratitude radiates lightness. One who moves with faith carries resilience. One who serves with love reflects vitality that no external method can reproduce. In this way, life itself becomes the practice, every decision either strengthening the link with spirit or weakening it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this harmony is not abstract. It shows its impact in practical ways. Think of gratitude as the lens that changes how the body experiences stress. Instead of tightening under pressure, a grateful mind softens, creating physiological conditions where immunity strengthens and energy renews. Think of faith as the compass that steadies emotions in uncertainty. Instead of contracting in fear, the body relaxes, circulation flows more freely, and strength resurfaces. And think of service as the current that keeps energy circulating. Instead of stagnation through self-absorption, life force multiplies through the act of giving, returning vitality to the one who gives. These are not symbolic outcomes, they are tangible, measurable effects of living in spiritual alignment. The hidden truth here is that harmony with spirit is not something reserved for saints or mystics. It is available to anyone willing to make different decisions about how they think, how they feel, and how they move through the world. Behind the scenes of every choice, whether to complain or to give thanks, To fear or to trust, to withdraw or to serve, lies the possibility of renewal. This is what Cayce meant when he described life as sacred. Every thought carries weight, every action carries vibration, and those vibrations shape the health of the body as surely as they shape the state of the soul. When we begin to live this way, the body responds in ways that surprise us. Tension eases where we once felt heaviness. Energy returns where exhaustion had lingered. Even our very presence changes. Others notice the shift without us saying a word. It is the kind of transformation that cannot be bought, only cultivated. And it begins each day, in the quiet choices that either align us with the eternal within or keep us bound to the fleeting pressures of the world. If these insights speak to you, write in the comments, "I choose harmony with spirit." Use it as a declaration of your own journey, and as a spark for others who may be searching for the same hidden truth, that youth is not about resisting time, but about awakening to the timeless source already alive within. If you made it all the way here, I hope these reflections brought you the same sense of clarity and renewal that they've brought to me while sharing them. If you'd like to keep walking this path together, subscribing to the channel is the best way to stay connected and continue exploring content that truly adds value to your journey. And since you've stayed until the very end, let me know in the comments by writing, "I'm with you until the end." It will be our way of recognizing one another in this space. If this message resonated with you, leave a like as a small gesture of that connection we built throughout this time. And don't stop here. There's a video right here that complements everything we've been uncovering. Click and continue with me over there.